Okay, so I got my theory working. So this morning I've already cycled my tunes. I got 11 of them. I've done my invoking and some of my workshop, and I got a theory that roughly around about 30 logins, or if you're gonna zone into some area, or even if you're in a zone, especially like I guess you could say like a dungeon. And let's say that dungeon has like Castle Ravenloft. You fight the first area, you get a cutscene, and then you get to the courtyard where you have another cutscene, fight, cutscene, fight. Then you go to the door skin. That's like what one? That's like already six different things that happen. Cutscenes, um, fighting in a new area, zoning into a new area, and so forth. Then you get into the castle, and then the castle's breaking up into like maybe like 15 different spots, including cutscenes. So my theory right now, I think that around about 30 cutscenes or zoning into a new area, or even moving into a new area itself, or even logging in, switching your characters. Once you do this, around 30 times, you're gonna get a blue screen. So, like I said, I've actually gone through and I've tested. I've kind of have this notion that around every 30 logins or so forth, you're gonna get a blue screen. So if I do get a blue screen, it's probably just gonna kick me out of the game. So just be aware of that. And that's what I'm testing right now. I'm gonna see if I can get into my workshop, do what I need to do, and proceed from there. So we will see what happens. What do I have in my mailbox? Okay. So as you can see, I am. It's like my 24th, 25th. I don't know. So I'm gonna zone into my workshop. Sometime pretty soon, I'm gonna actually get a blue screen. If that happens, I don't know if we'll show the blue screen or what. Or if because the game stopped, it'll start recording, but um, you'll basically get the gist of it. So this is an issue for me because, again, I do a lot of workshop stuff. I do a lot of ordeals where I have to, I basically, trying to get up my workshop leveled up and so forth. So, well, I don't have any morale on this. And there are issues with the workshop as well, which is why I do my workshop a little differently. Right now, I haven't done any invocations because I think the Gond event is going to start, and I kind of want to make use of those altars that they have in the game. Where from Gond, I think you get some gold or something like that. So um, I want to kind of collect a couple of those dwarven altars altars of Gond and see about getting some extra gold, which is for me is a big deal because, like I said, I'm trying to basically be an all-around player. I'm getting my workshop up and getting everything situated and so forth. So we'll see what happens. Again, I'm roughly around about my 30th login and zoning in and out. It's probably like this could be number 28, I think it is, since I'm flowing through my character list. And we'll see if it kicks me out of the game and so forth. If that's the case, I'll definitely be forwarding this on, and hopefully they can fix it so that there's no additional issues in the future. So, all right. So, as we see here, I got 400. Now, I have run into problems where if I'm basically farming this and I'm crafting this at 2 because I constantly click, 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 that it'll actually freeze on me. So I end up having to restart the game. So I'm not going to do that. So what I do here is I actually just put it in the order block, and I just go ahead and rush the task from here. I mean, I'm not, because it's double professor's weekend, this is more feasible for me to save time, because I can actually go through here much quicker instead of having to click and make a boot, click and make a boot, click and make a boot, and that takes, you know, a year and a half to do, because, you know, the screen comes up, you know. See, this screen comes up and it takes forever. So if I'm doing this, I'm gonna end up, you know, having some issues, and basically it can actually crash on me and freeze up on me. So I don't like that. So in this case, again, I'm just gonna go ahead and rush the task for my thing. Now, unfortunately, I'm not getting my instant boot making. Well, every now and then, if you see the 5 seconds there, you'll notice that it's making a boot, but it's not instant. It's a 5-second delay, and then on top of that, it's like another 5-second delay because the guy has to walk himself to the box and put it into the box and so forth. So this instant business is not, it's not true. It's not instant. As you can tell, it's like a 10-second process after you make the boot to go ahead and be able to pick it out of the delivery box. So it's a double-edged sword. I wish they would actually remove that little notification that your guy actually succeeded. Now, it would be nice if it only came up when the when your guy actually kicked in his special ability, like, oh yeah, you got you know, you didn't spend any morale this time, or, you know, there was no cost because your guy's special ability kicked in, which right now is like, you know, 15 to 20%. It's not, you know, it does make a difference overall because you're making so many items and so forth. So, and you just go ahead and make the things that make sense to you and try to get your guy leveled up. That's the main thing, you know. For me, quantity is actually better than quality, so that's why I go ahead and make the same thing over and over again, because it's cheaper to make, and I can make more, which hopefully in time can get me more experience to get my guys leveled up to their maximum, which is 80, and then I can go ahead and start, you know, farming the big items that I need and so forth. So we'll see what happens. So that's basically what I'm doing. I mean, I'm sorry about the whole ordeal that you guys are gonna have to watch me go through my workshop and do all my daily ordeals and so forth and such. But it's a grind. You know, we all grind as much as we can and so forth. So, but you know, I guess other things I could probably discuss is just like in the new area, Avernus. I've noticed that when you're traveling around from area to area, there, I think, if you guys are aware of where the abyssal chickens spawn for when you're farming, I guess the mask of Cormier, and I think the other thing that it gives like is a pair of gloves that actually increases your damage when you are hit, and then converts that into damage resistance. Around that area, whenever you go ahead and go across a land bridge, you inadvertently can lose your pet. Not your pet, your companion. Even if it's an ion stone, you know, something that's supposed to remain right on you, some odd reason it can fall through the cracks of that little land bridge that connects the two areas. And when that happens, of course, you're losing a lot of your stats. So right now, the only thing I could say to help you with that is that when you cross that land bridge and you're going up the road a bit, check your stats. You know, just go to your character sheet, check your stats. If you notice it's much lower than it normally should be, then you want to go ahead and unequip and re-equip your companion. You know, so that way you're all set. Because it's a bummer. You know, I will admit it's kind of makes me upset, and I'm over there trying to go ahead and kill the other monsters, and I'm way understated for that area at that point, and you know, I get one-shotted or so forth, and then I die. And then you die basically trying to do the heroic in that area, which is frustrating because, you know, you actually get sent to the other side of the map by the fireplace that's next to the siege, and then you have to walk all the way back around, which is a bit time consuming. So hopefully they get that issue fixed, and hopefully they actually put a fireplace closer to that area so that you can go ahead and be able to spawn near that and be able to walk up the road and continue to go ahead and do your heroic instead of having to waste like a good, I'll probably say that 3 to 5 minutes walking all the way back around and up that hill. And then of course again losing your companion along the way and being understated, and of course possibly getting one-shotted by the monsters there. Right now, it looks like the caps in that region are 80k for offensive, 80k defensive, in order to go ahead and not just be one-shotted. I'm certain that they're going higher. You probably want to eventually get your stats around 85k just to be safe. I mean, that's me though. I play on the safe side all the time, so I play very tanky characters and so forth. So, but I'm more. My play style is more support in a way. I mean, I do want to damage, but I want to make sure that whatever we're doing, dungeon-wise or even in a group, I want to be able to succeed. I don't want to be the person that's top DPS. Yeah, that matters, I guess. But if you're top DPS and the rest of your team is failing this mission, you're failing too. So if you're not getting a LOM done or something like that, it can be a problem. You know, so the I see everybody still like using Demogorgon set and so forth, and that makes sense. But you gotta look at items like the Apocalypse set. Apocalypse set just says that the monster takes 5% more damage. You know, it takes basically incremental damage up to a maximum of 5%. So if you're constantly doing damage to this thing per character, that's a 5% stack for everybody that's involved in this event, you know, and it can be tough because you're looking at 5% split between however many people that are in your group. So if everybody's using the Apocalypse set, then you're looking at 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%, basically 25% damage, which is by all means for every person that's in your group. Now, one thing that I'm kind of just chaps my hide is that the Call to Arms set originally was supposed to be 10% outgoing damage, 10% damage reduction, and 10%, I believe it's outgoing healing. I cannot remember. Oh, let me take a look at my thing real quick. I should know. I know. I literally grinded. I grinded this event so hard when I found out what the stats is. See, 1% outgoing damage, outgoing healing, and incoming damage. Basically, you know, it stacks up to 5 times. Originally, it was up to a maximum of 10%, and it stacked with the group. So if you had 5 people that were running it, yeah, you could get 50% more damage, 50% more outgoing healing, and 50% damage reduction, which would have been massive, you know. And then they basically said, all right, 5%. I was okay with that. That makes sense, you know. 25% more damage for the whole group would have been fantastic. But they brought it down from its original values, which would have been, oh my God, it would have been best in slot for people that actually grinded the event. And, I mean, I grinded that event, and I have other videos that show that event basically having issues and so forth. And I grinded this for the whole year to get these weapons. And you know, unlike other weapons like the Lionheart, you know, you have a chance to drop it by going in there or just grinding with a good group. But yeah, that's tough because you have to be in game. You have to have in-game gear for people to even accept you, and that's just not just the gear alone. You have to have the in-game mounts and so forth. And right now the drop rate is so low that unless you're dumping money into the game in itself, it's just going to go ahead and take you a long time to get there. And I know that they're trying to fix this issue with drops and so forth, but there are times when they need to actually look at the fact is that when you grind out events, I mean, 1 year is a big price to pay for some items, and then when you finally get those, like the weapon set, again back to the Call to Arms weapon set, when they completely destroy what the reason you were grinding for, it would have been worth it, even Now, if they had made it to where it synergized with other sets, to where you could have five, if two people had it, 10% outgoing damage, healing, and damage reduction, that would have been massive. The same thing is that if you were to do it even at 5% right now, that it is with five people, 25% outgoing damage, 25% outgoing healing, 25% damage reduction, and of course those values would not be completely static because not everybody is doing that many crits. So you're roughly looking at anywhere in honest factoring of attacking things. You're looking at about maybe, I would probably say 15 to 20% static stats because it's based off of the crit values that you have to go ahead and commit and so forth. So you would basically, even in a group with that, be doing roughly about anywhere from 15 to 22% damage, outgoing, healing, and damage reduction, which are big numbers. But those would have been worthwhile for the time that you took to grind out this event, and also for the pain and suffering that you suffered because that event was broken. You know, some of the tokens weren't being given out, and instead of being reimbursed, they said, you know what, we're just gonna add it for another week. So you got to continue to grind an extra week, and then you go ahead and finally get the weapon, and the very next mod, which happened like about a week afterwards, they completely nerfed the whole product. You know, that was definitely something that left a bad taste in my mouth, you know, and so forth. So, but now you got the Lionheart, which is 10% damage outgoing based off of I believe it's your stamina stat, as long as it's up there, which is nice. I don't mind that, you know, but it seems so much easier to get if you go ahead and have the in-game gear. You know, it just seems that the game is designed to go ahead and not, you know, not congratulate or thank the players that are willing to go ahead and be here day in and day out and look at, you know, the work that they have done, and also to go ahead and, you know, when the sale permits, to go ahead and buy these Zen from the stores and you know, buy the appropriate items to get your gear up. But it's more entailed to the people that have fat wallets that decide to go ahead and drop, you know, millions and millions of dollars into this game, which is also fine by me. But all right, if I'm gonna grind one whole year for, you know, for a hoop dream and it doesn't come through, yeah, I'm gonna be upset. So, yeah, that's just, you know, things on my mind that I like to go ahead and talk about with my friends. And right now, again, even if it's a 5% damage and it was actually synergized, it would make that call to arms weapon set so much greater because you put forth the effort and the time to grind that out, which is another thing that happened with the Tales of Old set. Great set in itself, you know, but, you know, they get nerfed, you know, or they're broken to begin with, and then they have to be fixed, and people are upset because they took all that time to go ahead and go through it. Now with the Tales of Old set, I know that I spent a bit of money. It was around Christmas when they decided to go ahead and say, "Hey man, we're gonna go ahead and sell you the currency to go ahead and buy it." And I was like, I could do that. I could at least, you know, buy a couple for